The morning I heard the crash, I knew it was over. A sickening thud shook the air, and when I rushed outside, there it was, Marlene's pearl-white BMW smashed nose-first into the stone barrier I'd built across my driveway. Smoke hissed from the hood. Neighbors peeked out from behind curtains, and someone actually clapped. That was the moment the HOA queen finally met something she couldn't bend, a wall that refused to move. I didn't move here looking for a fight. Honestly, I thought I was buying peace. My house sat at the very end of a cul-de-sac, a fixer-upper with faded siding and a cracked mailbox, but it had charm. I wanted privacy, a place where I could pull into my driveway, close the door, and breathe. The realtor mentioned quirks like how the driveway cut straight through my lot, connecting one street to another. I figured at worst I'd get kids biking through or the occasional delivery driver turning around. What I didn't expect was the president of the HOA, Marlene, with her perfect hair brick 2-story and self-appointed crown, deciding my driveway was her personal shortcut. I first noticed it when I almost hit her BMW backing out. She didn't wave, didn't apologize, just flicked her blonde hair in the mirror and kept rolling like she owned the asphalt under my feet. Then she did it again the next morning, and the next. At exactly 8:12 a.m., like clockwork, her car glided past my porch, shaving 30 seconds off her commute while reminding the entire neighborhood who made the rules here. A neighbor eventually whispered her name, Marlene, the HOA queen. 20 years on the throne, they said, running meetings like a dictator with a gavel. I tried polite first. One afternoon, I waved her down while she was climbing into her BMW. "Hey, Marlene, I've noticed you've been using my driveway. Mind stopping?" She smiled like I was a child asking why the sky is blue. "Sweetheart, it's always been that way. Everyone knows it's a community easement." My stomach tightened. I'd read my deed front to back. The driveway was mine, period. "Actually, it's private property," I said. Her smile froze, then hardened. "Well, it's been in use for years. Surely you wouldn't want to make waves. It helps everyone. Everyone meaning her." Then she slid behind the wheel, revved the engine, and left me standing there simmering. That's when the letters started showing up. Notices about my trash bins not being compliant. Warnings about my mailbox. Criticism about my lawn being unsightly, never mind I was in the middle of renovating. It was punishment, plain and simple. And I'll admit at first I felt cornered. Every envelope in the mailbox felt like a shot fired. Every sideways glance from a neighbor made me wonder if I was the outsider she said I was. One night, I actually sat at my kitchen table with a for sale search page open on my laptop, wondering if I should just walk away. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it wasn't worth it. But then I looked at the stack of letters I'd been filing, the time-stamped photos of her BMW on my driveway, the property survey maps I'd triple-checked with the county clerk. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't wrong. I was being bullied, and if I gave in, I'd never forgive myself. That's when the idea formed stone. If she wanted to treat my driveway like a public road, then fine, I'd give her a dead end. I spent weeks ordering supplies in secret. A pallet of pavers here, a load of crushed rock there, spread out so no one would suspect. I let neighbors assume I was building a patio. Every evening after work, I measured, dug, and stacked until my driveway transformed into a cul-de-sac that belonged to me alone. On the eve of the reveal, I stood there with my hands on my hips, staring at the barricade. For once, I felt steady. At 8:12 sharp, she was going to find her road closed. And oh, did she. That morning, coffee in hand, I sat on the porch and watched her BMW glide in like royalty making an entrance. Then, bam, brakes squealed. She rolled her window down, sunglasses low on her nose. "Excuse me, what is this?" she demanded. I took a slow sip of coffee. "That's my driveway. Improved. Reinforced." Her face flushed crimson. "You can't block community access." "It's not community," I replied. "It's mine. Unless you've got a deed tucked in that glove box, nothing's moving these stones." She sputtered, threatened fines, and peeled out in a fury. My neighbors peeked from blinds, some smiling. For the first time, someone had said no to the queen. Of course she didn't stop. The fines rolled in. $500 for unauthorized landscaping, $300 for non-compliant paving, another for obstruction of community access. She even brought a construction crew to tear the barrier down, barking orders like she was a general. But when I calmly informed the workers they were trespassing and started snapping photos for the sheriff, they packed up and left. Marlene's face turned the color of overripe tomatoes as she sped away. Her next move was nastier. One night I woke to banging sounds outside. Teenagers, 2 of them swinging sledgehammers at my wall of stone, while Marlene's BMW idled nearby, headlights off. I grabbed my phone, hit record, and walked straight into the chaos. "Evening, gentlemen," I said, voice calm. The kids froze guilty. From her car, Marlene shouted, "This is vandalism. Proof your wall is dangerous." I panned the camera right to her license plate. "No, this is proof you orchestrated felony vandalism on private property." Her face went pale. She barked at the teens to get back in, but not before I caught the whole thing on video. The next morning, the sheriff had it in his hands. By now, the neighborhood was buzzing. Some were still scared of her, but others started drifting toward me. Quiet conversations on porches turned into nods of solidarity. Mr. Green across the street told me, "Don't back down. You've done what no one else had the nerve to." It clicked. This wasn't just about my driveway anymore. This was about every bird bath she'd outlawed, every shutter she'd demanded, repainted every petty fine she'd used to keep people in line. My stones weren't just stopping her BMW, they were cracking her illusion of control. Then came the showdown at the HOA meeting. I knew she'd use it to humiliate me, so I prepared a folder labeled receipts, my deed survey maps, photos, even the sheriff's report. The hall was packed, standing room only. Marlene stood at the podium, gavel in hand, fire in her eyes. She painted me as a selfish troublemaker, waving a stack of fines like holy scripture. Then she slammed the gavel and called for immediate removal of my obstruction. That was my cue. I walked to the front, laid out my documents, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, this driveway has never been community property. It belongs to me. Every fine she's issued is invalid, and I've already filed a complaint with the county. What you've heard tonight isn't law, it's intimidation." The room erupted in whispers, then laughter. Her face froze, lips pressed so tight they almost disappeared. For the first time, the Queen's authority cracked in public. And then came the crash, the final act. Days later, I was fixing the fence out back when I heard the roar of an engine followed by the unmistakable crunch of metal on stone. I sprinted around front to see Marlene's BMW jammed against my wall, its hood crumpled like a soda can. She stumbled out screaming, "Look what you've done! You destroyed my car." Neighbors poured out phones, raised recording every second. I lifted mine too. Correction. Marlene, you destroyed your car. The wall didn't move. The driveway didn't move. The only thing that moved was you. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Checkmate." Her fury melted into panic as the sheriff pulled up, called by half a dozen witnesses. He took one look at the smoking BMW and shook his head. "Entrapment, lady, it's a driveway. You drove into it." She tried to argue, but he cut her off. "Enough. Go home before I start writing citations." The tow truck hauled her once pristine car away as neighbors chuckled openly. And just like that, the reign of the HOA queen ended. Not with a vote, not with another fine, but with the sight of her BMW broken against a wall of stone. Sometimes the only way to stop entitlement is to build something immovable and let it prove your point for you.